You embodied abundance. You stopped chasing. You stopped grasping. You acted like it was already done. Your body finally relaxed. And that's when it became uncomfortable. Because nothing followed, even though something had. You didn't just think abundant thoughts. You changed how you moved. You stopped chasing, stopped tightening, stopped reaching for proof. You acted like it was already handled, not performative, not forced, just quieter. You said no to things that used to drain you. You took your time where you used to rush. You stopped explaining yourself. From the outside, it looked like confidence. From the inside, it felt like relief. Your body softened. Your shoulders dropped without you noticing. Your breath stopped catching. Your nervous system stopped scanning for lack. There was space where urgency used to be. And for the first time in a long time, you weren't trying to get anything. You trusted that you already had enough. That shift mattered. It wasn't imagined. It wasn't spiritual theater. Something real changed in how it felt to be you, and part of you let out a quiet exhale. Finally. I don't have to push. That relief was earned, and that's why what followed felt so disorienting. Because nothing followed. No opening, no clear response, no sense that life adjusted to meet you. Things didn't fall apart. They also didn't move. And you didn't react the way you thought you would. You weren't angry, you weren't anxious, you weren't even disappointed, just aware. Aware that you had relaxed without anything arriving, and hearing that named brings relief. Glad you said it, I didn't want to. Because saying it out loud feels risky. If you admit that embodying abundance didn't change your life, it sounds like you're rejecting the whole thing. And you're not. You did embody it. Your system learned how to stop gripping, how to stop operating from lack, how to stop proving. That's real. But something else became visible at the same time. You embodied abundance internally. But externally, nothing reorganized. And that quiet mismatch stayed with you, not loudly, just enough to keep noticing. You kept living from that relaxed place. You didn't snap back. You didn't start chasing again. You trusted that staying open was the point. But time kept moving. Days passed without urgency. Weeks passed without momentum, then months. Not dramatically, just steadily. Long enough for something honest to settle in. Rest had become a position. You weren't reaching anymore, but you also weren't moving. Action felt optional. Decisions felt neutral, not blocked, not inspired, just unnecessary. You raised frequency. You worked on your energy, not your plans, not your effort. Your body grew quieter. Yet the same delays returned. The same patterns stayed, still stuck. And you couldn't ignore that anymore. You didn't raise your frequency casually, you worked at it. You paid attention to what you consumed, what you focused on, what you allowed to repeat internally. You stopped feeding heavy thoughts, stopped rehearsing worst-case futures, stopped letting your system sink unchecked. You chose lighter states, gratitude, presence, neutrality instead of resistance, not to be fake positive, to stop bleeding energy. And something shifted. Your baseline lifted. Your inner environment felt clearer. Your thoughts didn't pull you down the way they used to. Your body felt less dense, less tight, less contracted. Your nervous system wasn't living in constant low-grade survival anymore. From the inside, that mattered. You felt clearer, more spacious, more okay being where you were. You weren't fighting life all the time. And part of you felt genuine relief. Finally. I'm not stuck inside my own head. That relief was real. It wasn't imagined. It wasn't bypassing. Something actually changed in how it felt to be you. And that's why what followed was so confusing. Because when you looked at your life, not your mood, not your clarity, not your inner state, but the actual movement of your life, nothing had changed. Not forward, not backward, just still. And you didn't panic, that's the strange part. You didn't collapse into fear, you didn't feel desperate, you just noticed. You kept expecting that lighter state to translate into momentum, because everything you were told said it would. Raise your frequency. Reality reorganizes. Yet here you were, clearer than before, calmer than before, more regulated than before, still stuck. And hearing that named brings relief. I didn't want to say that. I'm glad you said it for me. Because admitting it feels dangerous. If you say raising your frequency didn't change your life, it sounds like you're rejecting the whole framework. And you're not. You did raise it. Your system learned how to recover faster, how to not spiral when things hit, how to stay out of collapse. That matters. But something else became obvious at the same time. You raised your internal state. You didn't change your external pattern. And that quiet mismatch stayed with you. Not loudly. Just enough to keep noticing. You kept tending your energy. You didn't return to old negativity. You didn't reopen old loops. You trusted that staying high frequency was the work. But time kept passing. Days felt lighter, but unchanged. Weeks felt calmer, but static. Then months, not dramatically. Just long enough for honesty to settle in. You felt better. But your life wasn't moving. And because you felt better, there was no urgency to question it. That's what made this phase so subtle. Raising frequency reduced pain. It didn't create direction. And pain had been the thing that used to push you. Without it, there was no friction, no pressure. Just emotional smoothness that didn't ask anything of you.